That's Roger. We'll get some of these other organizations.
They're killing me.
Xavier, we're gonna wait on Xavier.
Gentlemen, how you doing? Here you go, brother. Just want to let you know we're doing for the city. Hopefully,
You gonna give us Jarvis?
I talked to him. He's supposed to talk back this week, but that's what he was asking me for.
Okay.
All right.
Mayor, Chief, Mike, you're on the script.
Sure, I'm the same Birmingham. I'll stand right here and support your blade.
We're gonna cut it down. Everybody present. We'll wait on ABC. Yeah, they went down the way we were following them. We got one more affiliate that we're waiting to get set up, so appreciate everyone else being here and being on time. Well, good morning to everyone, and we welcome you to District 7, Wiggins Park. I'm here today to dispel any occurrences that you thought took place at Winona High School. Some of those incidents that you are familiar with actually derive from some previous situations that took place right here in Wiggins Park, so that's why we're here today. I want to thank all the organizations that are present here today that are trying to address the violence that's occurring throughout our communities. Everybody's been diligent in their efforts, meaningful in their efforts, and I think it's a concern that has resonated across the entire city of Birmingham. Thank you for taking time out of your schedules to join us as we announce plans to address the recent increases in violence here in the city of Birmingham. First, I want to send a message to the families, the Webb family and the Johnson family, for their extraordinary strength they've endured and exemplified in their time of loss of their young ones, in Jazeris and Isaiah. Their deaths were a match that lit the flames of discussions about how we can curtail the violence that has stricken their family and right here in our community. To the youth, pulling the triggers, you have cried out for help loud enough to get a response. It is my belief that every time a youth pulls a trigger, it's a cry for help. It's time we all start listening to all those cries. And I repeat that. It is time that we start listening to all those cries. It is this belief that compels me to announce the following actions in response to the rise in violence we've experienced. And it took time to get here. It just so happened that other occurrences took place to where we had to really focus in on this effort. Starting in March, everyone here with me today, including Mayor Bell, Chief Roper, and others with resources, are here to make a difference. We'll convene a series of small group discussions with former gang members, with current gang members, with residents of communities affected by the violence that's occurring in our communities. I'll repeat that. We will sit down and have face-to-face discussions with former gang members, current gang members, other affiliations, residents in our communities. How will we do that? Number one, we're going to put a face and a name to the frustrations that are in our communities that we miss, that's missing, driving youth and communities to violence. The question is it drugs? Is it being a part of a new gang affiliation? Is it abuse? Is it poverty? What is it? Number two, we're going to identify who in the community has the respect and trust to make a difference in our youth's lives. We have people up here today and that's out here in this audience that are respected in their communities. And you're the ones we're going to be reaching out to get into those communities, start utilizing the resources we need to address these matters. And number three, understand why violence, which is the most aggressive response to any frustration, appears to be the only option for our youth. Based on what we learned from these community discussions, I will lead with many others an effort to draft an action plan to be carried over a 100-day period to match solutions to these things we have learned. Reducing youth violence has always been a part and concern of our mayor, Mayor William Bell, and he is very concerned about what's going on in our communities with our young people. So I want to invite our mayor up to the podium at this time to share some things about reducing violence in Birmingham. Mayor Bell?
Thank you, Councilor. First of all, let me also thank each and every one of you all for being here. For some time now, we have been looking at ways that we can reduce the violence and reach out to those individuals who perpetrate violence in our community to try to quell what is happening. When you look at overall crime, it is down. When you look at crime across the country in terms of violent crime, there is a spike there. Our police department does a good job in tracking down individuals after the fact. But what we've got to do is find ways to interdict ahead of the time so that the senseless violence can cease. We can do that in a number of ways. We can look in terms of programs and individuals who, as Councilor Roberson indicated, can reach out into the community. We're going to be doing some unorthodox things, some things that we have not done before, to try to reach the individuals in the groups, in the organizations that are behind most of the crime that takes place in terms of violent crime. We're going to look at the connectivity of those individuals and what they need to withdraw themselves from a life of violence and a life of crime. We're going to work each and every day to identify issues that keep someone involved in drugs or keep someone involved in illegal activity and try to come up with ways to stop that from happening. I will be reaching out to the head of the AFT, DEA, as well as our own department to further coordinate our efforts to quell the influx of drugs and guns. Illegal guns are at an all-time high in our community. We've got to find ways to prevent them from going out into the community and prevent them from being used in the community. The men and women that are standing behind me will all have a role in that interdiction process. And while I use the term interdiction, it's really just finding out who in the community that can reach out and talk to folks, to get them to understand that we cannot continue down this path of violence and bloodshed, that we've got to come together. We've got to stop the mourning of mothers and fathers at funerals. This past Saturday at Isaiah Johnson's funeral, there was no consoling words for Mrs. Kimberly Johnson. There was no consoling words for the family. And as the young people walked past the casket and looked at Isaiah laying there, and his lifeless body laying there, you could tell that they were in pain. But we don't want that pain to turn into stoicism. We don't want that pain to turn into just another dead body in a casket. We see it, walk on by. We want to emphasize that you cannot give life back. Once life is taken, you cannot give it back. And we've got to impress that upon all of our young people, that this is not a video game. This is not a situation where, it's a painless thing. Families are hurting. But you not only destroy the life of the individual that lost their lives, you also destroy your own life when you turn to violence. You destroy the lives of your family. You alter your family situation dramatically. And we've got to get our young people to start thinking and understanding that this is not the way to go. So I join Councilor Roberson. I join all the men and women behind me and others in the community to call upon each and every individual to do their part. Parents, take control of your children. You know what's going on. You know what's going on better than anybody else. And if we can all come together and work towards that goal, we can resolve this issue. You have my commitment as the mayor of this city that I will use all the resources within my power to make this a reality of saving lives in our community. So I join with Councilor Roberson and others to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership and consistent support of these efforts and making sure that we all are working together in this effort to curtail violence. Some of the toughest calls as a council member, even as a mayor, an elected official, and others are here, is to hear about the loss of a young person in your community. And those are some of the calls that you have to make to hear about the situations and what's going on and how things are happening and what occurred. And I know in the past 3 weeks, I've at least reached out to Mayor Bell via text or through a call. I even reached out to Chief Roper. And those are some of the most disheartening calls in the area, in Western Southwest Birmingham. And so Chief Roper has both strength and compassion about the efforts of reducing violence in our community. And at this time, we'll have Chief Roper to come speak to us about the Birmingham Police Department. Chief?
So let me start by thanking the councilor and the mayor and everyone who's represented here and everyone who's represented out there. The bottom line is we're losing too many of our young people to violence. And the only way to combat it is, as a community, we have to take ownership. It's not just a police problem, and the police can't solve it alone. So I am encouraged by the fact that we have some amazing leaders and organizations represented here, community members represented here, to partner with us. It is a complex issue when you start talking about youth violence. And so it's going to take much more than the traditional law enforcement approach to resolve it, to intervene before the trigger is pulled. And the bottom line is we have relied on police way too much as a standalone entity. But I stand here today as chief to say we welcome the help. We welcome the partnerships and we welcome the assistance. We have to address opportunities to prevent it, to intervene. We have to give these young people positive mentors, a positive example, because we're fighting an uphill battle against culture and against social media and the images and the music they see every day. And so we have got to come together to make sure we make a difference. So we will take a collaborative and multidisciplined approach. I like the way the mayor said it's going to be non-traditional, unorthodox at times, and that's what it will take to really reach the heart of our young people. We've got to do something about the guns. I'm saddened when I get a report that someone's broken into a car, or a car was left unlocked and there was a gun in the trunk, or there was a gun in the glove compartment, or a gun under the seat, because that's another gun on the street. And practical, pragmatic gun ownership, because that's another way that our guns are getting on the streets and into the hands of our young people. So we look forward to the partnership. We know we can do much better than what we're doing, and I believe we have the people here who are committed to the cause, because it's all about saving the lives of our young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. It really is non-traditional what we're going to do. It's really about just sitting around the table, talking to those individuals to figure out what's going on in our community. And there's been numerous efforts made, and looking forward to how we can implement those efforts. Others in this community that are here today are part of this. We got church members, leadership here. We've got, organizations, New Era, who was here first, that's doing things in the community. We got youth organizations here. We got to start sitting down and talking to these individuals and people in our community one-on-one. So in order to do that, over the next months, we're going to have those type of settings take place starting right here in Southwest Birmingham. And this person here I've known for a long time. He's been very engaged and involved with our youth in our community, but he also has some history. He was once a member of a gang. He was once caught up in drugs. He was once one of those that the police didn't want to be friends with. But he's right here in Southwest Birmingham in District 7 in particular, now wants to make a difference and start getting involved with these young people, getting engaged. He's already doing some of that now right here at Wiggins Park, where they have one of the best youth football programs in the city. He's from New Hill. If you know what New Hill is, that's where he's from. He was a member of BAQ, and I remember BAQ when I was a young kid. I did not want him to go around BAQ, and y'all know what BAQ stands for. And so Coach Mike Davis is going to help us implement some of those non-traditional conversations. And at this time, I want Coach to come up and say a few words. Coach.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Jay gave y'all a little history. Y'all grew up on New Hill, 709 New Hill Court. I grew up as a youth listening to people saying that nothing good will ever come out of New Hill. I grew up in a dysfunctional family that said you'll never be nothing. I went to school, and when they seen your address or your zip code, even in the school system, they treated me different. Because you all New Hill. We know you one of those old gangsters. You're going to be wild, and you're going to be crazy. So we grow up sterilizing kids before they even start growing up. And you know we do that. And I grew up, then I became a street level drug dealer, because, hey, that's the only option I seen. Our mindset was, let's get that money. If money coming through here, we're going to get that money. Then when you talking about doing things that are illegal, crime going to come about. Nobody else talking to us because they scared of us. I'm all New here. They don't want to say nothing to me. Y'all know that's right. I went through the Lethal House program. I was on crack cocaine probably about 10 years. Made to the Lethal House program. Was there 43 days. Came out in 1990. I've been clean and sober now 27 years. No alcohol, no drugs, no gangbang. I had, back in the 90s, late 80s, Birmingham had a gang task force. He dead and gone now. Sergeant Leonard also had his hands on me, and he's still alive now. A lot of people know Bruce Lavender. My friend Lieutenant David Marable, which is my classmate, talked to me, okay? Now, only through the drug thing, I OD'd twice, cold blue once. So God had put me here, and I had to go through all that to be here today to help these youth. To let them know that, hey, ride or die is a lie.
All right.
Yep, They will leave you out there. They'll come out clean, and you'll come out leaking. I ain't talking about leaking no motor fluid or no transmission fluid. I'm talking about blood. You'll come out leaking. They gone. They'll leave you. It's a lie. They don't love you, you youth. They don't love you. These gangs don't love you. I know a lot of our youth out there hurting because they don't have proper leadership in the household. They don't see proper leadership. They see fussing. A lot of our youth are being mentally abused. Mentally abused. They growing up angry. They exert themselves for the first somebody gonna show them any kind of attention. Most of the time it be some gang gonna come and, hey, come on in with us. And so for you to initiate, you got to do this. And 9 times out of 10, you out there, you know, you ain't got no mama and daddy loving you. The community ain't loving you. You ain't finna go to no church. So you're gonna do these different things that you need to do to be a part of something. So I'm here to tell the youth today, and a lot of them know you. You know, I've been coaching youth ball for a while. I deal with them from age 4 years old to 12. And then we even keep up with them, keep up with them 5 years after they leave the youth program. And I tell the youth that out there now that's hurting, right now, I just need you to survive. I just need you to survive right now because we're putting together a thing that you have never seen before. We're putting together a thing that you're going to have correct help. You're going to have somebody here that's going to completely understand what you're going through. See, this ain't about no political arena. This ain't a how we going to dress. When we get these kids together, it's going to be from the heart. All right. It's going to be real people that have real situations. I just thank God that I never did go through the penal system because it was just God's intervention that helped me. Now, I know I done did some crimes. I even committed, I said I was guilty, but I didn't go because it was some God intervention that stopped me from being part of the penal system. But I know when I went through the Lisa House program, I started learning about some things about myself and about what the drugs that do to you. And the influence of drugs that got a great hold on our youth. And dealing with the youth program, we finding out it's not a whole lot of parenting. Not only that we need to have a plan for the youth, that a lot of our parents need to go through Planned Parenthood or something to learn how to parent. And we got to start attacking them even once the kid come out the hospital, that kid needs some supervision from day one. Them kids that died 17 years old, hey, they done got to be almost adult. It's kind of hard to deal with them, but we can get them early and speak positive things and teach them about education, economics. A lot of our black youth don't know nothing about economics. I did. All I know is let's get that money and do whatever you got to do to get it. So when he said it's going to be unusual, it's going to be unusual. It's going to be something these kids ain't never seen, but they need it. It's hard times, y'all. And we need hard people that are going to step up and do what they need for the community. Ain't no other, we done tried everything. The mayor said he got to come. We done tried everything. Now it's trying now. You know what we're doing? We're thinking out the box. We got to get out the box. We've been in the box too long. We're thinking out of the box. And it's many of me out there that had testimony from the penal system to many other things that I didn't experience, but I'm just telling you. And you know when you say you come off New Hill, you ride somewhere and the police stop you and see a New Hill driver license. They're going to say, oh, Lord, they done told me, I know you got some guns and dope in that car. Hey, man, I'm being real about it. That's the stereotype. Y'all done heard about it. Most likely. That's a stereotype. But see, God saved me for right now and many others. It's time to do something. It's time to come under one umbrella, get off the soups, get off Facebook saying I was here at this meeting on Facebook. There again, this ain't no political arena for no votes. This is about saving kids' lives right now. It's real time, y'all. And you need real people. And people like me that been through, I ain't afraid of nothing. I ain't scared of nothing. There's many others like me that God done delivered. So I tell them, kids, right now, we coming. People coming with, listen to your concern. But right now, I need you to survive. I need you to stand still for a minute. No street violence. Stand still, because you got some people coming from out of your communities. There's 99 communities in the city of Birmingham. There's 9 council people. The number 9. That coming to see about you. And a lot of them know Coach Mike. A lot of them know, and a lot of them know that I used to have on a pair of $200 tennis shoes, and when the police come, we running through the cuss shoes. On New Hill, we had pathways on New Hill. We run through the cuss shoes. But now it's a time, man, to run for these youth. I'm no longer a part of the problem. I'm part of the solution. All right. AKA Fat Off New Hill. I'm here standing tall, letting the youth know they got somebody concerned about them, that been there, that they can talk to. And it's going to be in a place that when we talk to you, we're not going to tell your business out in the street and on Facebook. It's going to be anonymity. As it is when the 12-strap program, anonymity. What's going to be said right there is going to stay right there, and we're going to help you process it, and we're going to help you grow up to be men and women. And we're going to help you to be law-abiding citizens. That's what we're trying to do now. If you don't be nothing else, you might not be a man or woman of God, but guaranteed that we're going to help you to be a law-abiding citizen. And I want to thank for Jay Robeson calling me. Now, I'm no longer out of move to Huntsville, so when I leave here, I got to go to Huntsville and go to work. I come all the way from Huntsville to see about our youth. I help youth programs here from Huntsville. And I love these kids. And I'm telling y'all need to support the youth program. When we know the youth program, 2013, we lost 1 kid to violence. And we got 1 individual now that's in the county in the youth offender. 2, there's 2. One deceased in 2013 and 1 now locked up. Now, over thousands of kids that come through Wiggins Park from ages 4 to 12, rotate them out. You got 1 deceased. That sounds like some good numbers. Yeah. So you business owners, some of you that's out there, some of you that's listening, come out and help us out here with these youth programs. Come on out and help. If you're scared to come out, send your money. Because we need money. We need transportation. Them kids need helmets and all kind of stuff. But most of all, they need somebody that they can talk to and be real with them. I just want to thank y'all for allowing me to come up here and speak. And y'all, we're going to continue to pray for our youth. And come on, y'all, let's work together on one umbrella. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mike, for those passionate words. And like he said, it's going to be unusual. We're not going to be having these sessions and allowing cameras to come in and from the media. It's going to be real tough love and discussion. And it's a time for tough love. It's a time to have those face-to-face. Another gentleman that's here from the community that I've known for a long time, he comes from the Maston family. If you know about the Mastons, they are rooted in Southwest Birmingham. And he is the one that has always kept me abreast of what's going on in the streets. When something's going down or about to go down, he called Councilor Robeson to say, hey, Jay, I hear something about to happen. You know, at this time, I want to bring up Delvin Maston, one of our other gentlemen from the community that will be a part of this effort to curtail violence in Southwest Birmingham.
Good morning. I would like to thank Councilman Robeson, Mayor Bell, Commissioner Brown, and everyone else that's here in support of our efforts to get across to our youth. And the first thing I would like to start off about talking about is death. We as people, we continue to live every day, and we prepare ourselves for the only one thing that's guaranteed. And the only one thing that's guaranteed after we live is that we're going to die. But the thing is that When we go to the cemetery and they put our headstone down on our casket, there's a born date and there's a death date. But in the middle, there's a dash. And what we have to change with not just our youth, but with people is what's on that dash. What are you going to be remembered by? And the first thing we have to do is three things. With our youth, with our community, with our elders, and with those that's in the community that have influence, we need to evaluate, we need to educate, and then we need to empower people. And I think those three things is the key in order for us to get things done. But the only way that we're going to do that, and some of you are not going to like it if you're watching it, we got to get rid of some of you smoke and mirrors. There's a bunch of people out here with a lot of talk and not a lot of action. And those are not needed. We don't need a whole heck of a lot of people. We just need the right people. And irregardless of how we put it, the fruit don't fall far from the tree. And irregardless of how we look at it, the trees are already deeply rooted. Now, if you're one of those trees, our challenge to you is that when the fruit come off of it, make it productive. And the only way we're going to make it productive is that we're going to have to get those trees in one room and start talking to them. And those trees know exactly who they are. Our youth are at a trying point now. And one day they're going to be in charge of each and every last one of us that's out here. And the sad thing is that 90% of our youth are doing the right thing. But it's a healthy 10% of that youth that shakes it up a little bit and kind of give them a black eye. That 10% makes a difference also. Every person that has breathing breath in their body, they have influence. And how they use that influence is what matters. So we have to shape those with the most influence over our youth in order to make them productive. And I'm not saying productive in the streets of where they're committing illegal crimes or they're killing each other. But we have to open our ears and we have to open our eyes and listen and see exactly what it is that means so much to them that makes them go out and do the things that they do. Like Jay said, we're dealing with attention now. And most of our youth, they don't have the necessary attention to get their point across so we can listen to their ideas. Because their ideas one day, believe it or not, will be relevant in your life, in their life, and the ones that's before them. My grandfather once told me that if you walked around and watched a person do something wrong and you don't intervene, then you're just as wrong as the person that's doing something wrong. I'm a product of intervention. I'm a product of intervention. I went to Winona High School. I grew up in Winona Projects and on Graceville Heights and in Powderly and in Raleigh. Yeah, my family is deeply rooted, but that doesn't make us any bigger than anyone else in this neighborhood to make a difference. So it starts with me. I look over to my left at my classmate, Keith Dooley, 25 years of great friendship. But our friendship was intervened by another friend of ours, Mother, who gave us a job at 15 years old at flipping hamburgers at Wendy's on Valley Avenue. Where her intervention in our life has made us great working young men who gives us the opportunity to make a change. So today, in front of all these cameras, in front of everybody, it's not about me. It's not about Delvin Master. It's not about Coach D, the head coach at Lawson State Community College. It's not about Coach D, the athletic director at Wiggins Park or the Winona Young Dragons. It's not about none of that. Right now, it's about us putting our minds, our brains, and our influence together in order to shape our youth. And I don't want to stand here and give no long, drawn-out speech about it, but today, I stand here and stand before you, and I will tell you that I'm willing to put my life on the line in order not to see our youth and the next generation become extinct. So my time and everything that I do is going to be dedicated. Everything that I do is going to be dedicated to ensure that I'm doing and being an example to shape the life of somebody that's watching me. Because believe it or not, irregardless of what you do every day, somebody's watching, and 9 times out of 10, they're younger than you. So my challenge is to everyone is before you can go out and you can check youth, you need to check yourself. You need to look in the mirror and make sure that what you're doing is going to be a good example. So when your tree shake and that fruit fall off of it, it's a good product. So all the trees that's in the neighborhood that's producing the things that are wrong, it's time for you to come to the table and it's time to talk. It's time for that intervention. You may not think so, but yeah, it may have missed you, but it's not going to miss you always. And sometimes we don't think about these things until it rings our doorbell or it shows up on our porch. But when it does, it's a little bit too late to intervene. So those in the neighborhoods that's molding these young gangsters or molding these young street entrepreneurs, it's my challenge to you to come to the table so we can sit down and figure out how we can mold some young leaders and some young independent business owners, so therefore they can give back something. This life will not be lived correctly until we do something for someone that can never ever repay us for it. And it's time for us to do it. So irregardless of what you have that's too busy, or irregardless of what's going on in your life that you don't have time to come back to what you call home, you're missing the boat. And the boat is about to set sail. And when it sets sail, I don't think it's turning around. So please, it's me coming to you asking, come to the table and let's talk. And let's make a difference in our youth lives. Because if we don't, we're doing them an injustice. I think we're dealing with a generational mindset. And once we change the mindset to positive things and telling kids what they can do instead of telling kids what they can't do, and stop telling them what their restraints are, listen to their ideas and implement their ideas into our life, then maybe they'll feel just as much as important as the next man. So therefore, they don't have to go do the things for attention that lands them talking to Chief Roper. The police don't want to deal with that. And what we're dealing with right now is not a police issue. It's our issue because they are our kids. It's not a police issue. It's not a councilman's issue. It's not a mayor's issue. It's your issue when your child leave your house. Because irregardless of what their first name is, they can go change it every day. But their last name don't change. What are you producing? What are you producing? What is your address releasing to the streets every day? If it's not productive, then it's time for you to come to the table too. Thank you.
Thank you, Delvin. At this time, we'll have Q&A. Any questions?
Councilman, I hear you all talking about an untraditional approach, out-of-the-box thinking with the people directly involved. What about the parents? They are minors. So are you guys approaching parents in any way to hold them accountable?
Thank you for that question. And yes, we are. We're going to look at how we can have some intervention with the actual parents in the communities. We do have gentlemen here with GPS Educational Services that are very rooted in parental engagement in various areas throughout our community. But there will be a time, as Delvin just mentioned, that we need to talk to those that lead those households and sit down and talk with those parents and have discussions with them also.
And a follow-up to that, you know, we've been talking violence forever. We've been talking 100 days of violence forever. This is nothing new. It's been going on. Why are we just now getting to this point to think out of the box and to hold new discussion?
Well, that's a great point. And as an elected official, I'm taking my elected official hat off now. It's not about government. It's not about politics. What we've seen transpire, and the mayor touched on it, Chief, it's at a heightened, I guess, a heightened time that we've never seen or experienced before. And it's about community. And so it's time for us to address this untraditionally. It's time to go to the sources of those that are, I guess, really bringing these efforts forward in a negative manner, whether it's directly with, like I said earlier, former gang members, dope boys, drug dealers. It's time to do that. And I'm not saying we're going to get immediate results, but I think it's a conversation. I know it's a conversation that has to happen. It's a conversation that could lead to some other things that we can help work with our youth and start implementing with our youth.
Counselor, one of the things that's important is conflict resolution. How can you teach or how can you show
Conflict resolution.
conflict
resolution. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. How can you show conflict resolution when yet at the highest levels of government there's still conflicts that haven't been resolved?
Well, that's at every level of government.
We're here for Birmingham right now.
Well, your question was as it relates to levels of government you have.
I'm talking about as it relates to Birmingham.
Thank you. That's clarity. So as it relates to Birmingham, This council member, particularly District 7, can stand firm on being a voice of reason. This council member has worked with our mayor, has worked with leadership in this community to make sure we can do programs and do things to help the citizens, not just in District 7, but throughout the city of Birmingham. I think this council member has exemplified leadership that is reputable to make sure that his constituency is, pleased with the outcomes, results, focused on the community and neighborhood. That's why I'm here today. So I think it takes that kind of effort to work harmoniously with the leadership. My other colleagues on the council, I have no issues with them. I don't want to make this a political platform today, first and foremost, because it shouldn't be. This is about the kids. It's about the youth. It's about the violence we're experiencing. So as it relates to me, as representative of this district, I don't have any issues with conflict. And if I do, I'm man enough to sit down or talk to someone, even my mayor, even my other colleagues, to resolve those issues, and have done so.
Councilman, can you talk a little bit about the strategy of getting, you say you want to have these discussions. I know Coach Davis said this is going to be tough love discussions, very frank and open. How do you get the people who really probably need to have that impact to the table? Do you have a strategy to do that?
Well, I appreciate that, Rick, and yes, we do. The model is everyone that's here today. That's the model. The model is Mike Davis that spoke, that knows those individuals that's causing issues. Mike knew. Yeah. We knew Isaiah, little Isaiah, that's what they call him. We know who Central Park boys are. We know these entities that are throughout the community. The Birmingham Police Department has a gang task force that knows these individuals. Pastors are standing here that knows these individuals. It's just now telling them, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation. I don't think it's a unique strategy or anything of that nature. It's just now getting with those individuals. Let's talk. Few weeks. And it's cool parenting also. Parents know who it is.
How will this be different than what the VRI is doing with their call-in? Sounds pretty similar.
Carol, I'll be honest with you, I have not attended one of those call-ins. Mary, you want to address that?
We're going to continue with the VRI, and that's where we're working with individuals who are seeking to turn their lives around. Where this differs is that we're going to be using people in the community to reach out and grab those individuals who may not be on our radar screen, but the community knows that they either have the potential of getting involved in violence or they've had some other issues. We're taking it to the streets now, and that will be the difference. And when I say unorthodox or methods that we haven't tried before, this will be a grassroots effort to reach out to those individuals to say it's time to stop. And we're here to help you stop. And they know better than I or the chief know who those individuals are. And we don't want to be into a punitive type situation. You know, when the mayor says something good or bad, it's either, well, he's saying it for political reasons or he's not saying enough. Well, we're not going to be saying anything. We're going to let the work do the talk. And the work will come from the individuals like Mike and Mr. Mattson and all the other individuals who know who the young people are in this community. And we're going to give them the resources and the help, as well as other individuals, to reach out and touch those individuals.
Mayor, I have a question as it relates to jobs. Nobody has yet mentioned anything about jobs and economic development in a city that's 74% black and still 30% in poverty. We still have a lot of young people. They don't need to be arrested. They just simply need jobs and opportunities. So what's the plan for that? Bring more jobs to our community.
We have not said anything about arresting anybody. On Friday of last week, we had a program in which we're training young people to go out and get jobs in the horticulture field. We had Dr. Perry Ward, who represents the largest educational institution in this area, who's begging for individuals to come for apprentice programs that they will immediately be hired by organizations who are looking to hire individuals. We've got to get them in the programs. We have more jobs available right now than we have people who are trained and prepared to take on those jobs. and we're trying to get them in those preparatory programs so that they will have the skill sets to take on jobs in the construction industry, to take on jobs in the horticulture and the landscaping industry, to take on jobs that's in the technology area. There are over 1,500 jobs right now in technology that are going unfilled. We've got to get those individuals to understand that there is a way for them to earn a living for themselves, but it requires them to step forward. And hopefully, through this process of getting individuals who are on the streets to reach out and touch those folks and say, listen, there's a better way. And we have the process to help them.
Mayor, for you or Councilman Robinson, how do you measure the success of this program? You know, crime statistics are a snapshot. We've heard the chief say it's not all a police problem. We've heard it's a community problem. What's the metric for measuring the success of this program over time?
When the numbers of homicide go down, that's how you measure it. You know, about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, and I never will forget, I got a call from the chief. I think it was towards the end of 2014, around November or December. That's when we started noticing an uptick in violent crime. And it continued to rise, but it's still lower than it's ever been over the last 30 or 40 years. But because of that uptick, from the time that we had experienced a record low of homicides in our community. And someone asked me the question when it was at the record low. So, well, Mayor, are you satisfied and happy? I said, no, I'll never be satisfied. As long as there's one death to violence in our community, I will never be satisfied. But I knew from experience that you have cycles that you run through, and we're in one of those cycles. Whether you talk about Birmingham, whether you talk about Bessemer, whether you talk about Tuscaloosa, whether you talk about Nashville, no matter what city you talk about, there's been an uptick. And we all are looking for ways to address the issue of violent crime in our community.
Mayor, another question.
Thank you. That is the press conference. Thank you so much. Commissioner Brown wants to say something real quick. Commissioner.
This is a press conference for young people. Why are there no young people here today? Why are you guys at Wiggins Park and not inside of a school where you're actually able to talk to young people so they can hear the message that you're trying to get out?
Let me just say good morning. I live 1 block from here. I moved here in 1974. I'm a product of Winona High School. My heart bleeds when things happen to our youth, and I'm going to speak from common sense. It's not written in a book what's happening around here. We need to call on mothers to be strong mothers. I was a single parent in my house, but I knew what was in my house. And I demanded what was going to go on in my house. I followed my child to school. We've got to go to the parents also. I had a call in my office about 3 months ago, 2 calls. Parents saying she could not do anything with her son. And you know how old they were? They were 10 and 12 years old. It's not 17. It starts down there at Jones Valley Elementary School. The school's got to be on board. If we find some problems with some parents that are not really parenting, then we got ministers, churches, community organizations. We need to go in and find out vigilantly and try to help build our homes, our community. We got to do that. It's not about politics. And I see all the cameras here, and I see these same cameras when someone gets killed. This thing is real. It's very sensitive. It's not about a job. It's not about a job. We are having a real problem here. That's why I stepped to this podium on my own to say that this is no game. We got to go into the homes first. The mayor can't really do his job unless the home opens up and let him in. The churches can't do their job. I was a youth director for many years. I heard some horror stories from our little children, but what they were experiencing at home from their parents. And we had no jurisdiction to go into the home, even from the church. If that parent didn't want that child in church, we couldn't make that child come to church, because first he got to obey his parents. You got to obey your parents. So this is a real job now. And we got to think outside the box with common sense. It's not written in a book. And some of your questions are valid questions. And some of them are getting a little bit out of line with what we need to be talking about here. We've got to go get it, fix it. We've got to be vigilant. Like I said, 2 parents right here in this community called me. They said they couldn't even sleep at night. They didn't even know where their child be at 10 years old. So we're going to go into the church. We're going to go into the homes. We're going to take the preachers, pastors here that's not afraid. We got to take people like these New Hill gang members. We've got some of the parents are afraid to tell on their children. The child feel like the mama snitching on them, and they don't like snitchers and snitchers. So this is deep. It concerns me. My grandchildren got to live here, and every last one of them is in Jefferson County. And I'm going to do everything I can as a county commissioner, join in with the mayor, chief of police, and our council people to try to curtail this dangerous issue that's going on in our community. That's what I got to say. We got to start at home with the mamas. These children experience some things at home, the drugs in the house. All kinds of conversations going on in the house. The mamas and the daddies, a lot of them are not getting along in the house. But see, I made a decision on that when my husband and I got where we couldn't get along. And we did everything, you know, we were doing all those things against the will of our children. Oh, we shut it down. We just divorced and I raised my children. Now, we got some serious issues, and we're going to work on it through the church. We're asking God to heal this community, and I know He'll heal of all things. All things. Nothing too hard for God. That church was packed with those funerals. And we're going to pack these communities with people that really care. It is not about being reelected either. I've been working with Mayor Bell for many years. It's not about a reelection. He knows there's a problem, and he's ready to work on it. Our chief of police knows there's a problem. We need your help. We are calling on mothers to be mothers and take over, and we need them to be able to call somewhere and get that help. When they call me, I call our Division of Youth Services down there on 1st Avenue, and they came in and they helped with that parent, and those children are put into programs where someone is talking with them right now, and we're not letting them go. When they join church, we're going to follow them home. That's what I got to say, and I thank you all for being here today. And we got to continue to do this because this is real. A mother heart bleeds, and I bleed. Everybody bleeds at the death of a child. Thank you, and may God bless you too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you.
What was their little young